Budget 2018 will be all about the next general election, and that means bread and butter issues. Economists say that the upcoming budget announcement will more likely be a continuation of the last budget. But they say that there will also be a need to keep an eye on the deficit while allocating resources.
And I think if the oil price can be sustained at the current level, it's about 45 to 50 US dollar per barrel, then I think the government is confident enough to actually spend on things that they need to spend. Incentives will still be given to both B40 and M40.
Because if you're doing a straight tax cut, okay, it may cause some pressure on the budget deficit. But when you give the kind of reliefs, then it becomes a bit more indirect kind of measure here. So I think this is where the focus is going to be. There's this challenge whether we can bring down our budget deficit this year. Okay, going forward for next year. This year we're looking at 3%. Next year, we think that the deficit should come down slightly lower to about 2.9.
To me, it's okay not to really balance the budget by 2020, as long as the trend is actually declining.
We are slowly seeing a gradual drop in the development expenditure, but you've got to read very carefully. When you look at the development expenditure, you've got to see which are the areas that we are cutting. So if you find that if you're not cutting in the areas like construction, infra, healthcare, building hospitals and all this, that's good. Okay, if you cut in other small areas, then it's fine with me. Because these are basic necessity for an economy to grow. We also notice that more and more Malaysians are doing online business. So that means they've moved to a different direction. They do not want to work in a restaurant, but they could be doing online business. In fact, this budget, they should be looking at the informal sector. You see, the informal sector is a sector I don't think we are tapping very well. I don't think we even have proper data. And I think a lot of Malaysians are in the informal sector. People like him, he might be carrying this camera now here. Petang, video shooting, wedding, party, making side money. That's informal.
And I want to touch on one thing, which is on health, expenditure on health sector. And I think this is the reason why the government is considering a national medical insurance voluntarily. Because the allocation for health would actually increase over the years because of aging population. And that's the reason why, from our point of view, we can have measures like voluntary withdrawal from EPF to actually pay for medical insurance. Something which right now we don't have that opportunity.
Things can go into a dip next year because you know the North Korean issue is so loud. So what happens if there's a war? So the first hit is going to be the global financial market. This region is going to get hit with the financial market. Next will be the real economy. We must be prepared for that. Because we don't have a population of 1 billion sitting here. Or 250,000 and close the door and say, I don't need you. I think we have to be very mindful, irrespective of what we're talking about the current situation. The risk of a geopolitical tension is very loud. I think that's the biggest worry now.
Then I think consumer spending is probably the best in terms of supporting the growth. So overall consumers would have to be incentivized to make sure that they can actually afford to spend. And I think they are looking at a target of having consumer spending growth about 7%. in line with the long-term trend.
People will have to end up doing 2 jobs. That's what's happening in many other countries. So you help the guy out, okay, I've got a job from 8 to 5, finish, I pay for this tax, I go and do something, okay. Let's say I drive Uber or something like that. The income that I earn, probably 30% I pay tax, 70% I don't pay. So I get clean money. Something along that kind of line to help the people out. We have to prepare ourselves to go in that direction, because just a single job may not be sufficient with the rising living costs around everywhere.